in the past, if you didn't want to complete your karma, you died before you completed it, you just passed it on to the next generation. Now they had the choice. Oh, do we really want to take on his karma? No, we'll just pass it on. And it could go down 7 generations. But now it's end times. It's the end of a civilization. It's the end of a cosmic era. Everything had to be cleared up. So all the people on Earth were taking on part of the collective karma, part of the individual karma, the genetic karma, the family karma.
What is the reason why we have so many pyramids? What information are the pyramids bringing from the cosmos down to Earth?
Well, say a pyramid might be connected to a planet, and it would be holding the light codes, the frequencies, the energies of that planet. This is one reason there's so much cancer. You take it into your body as a cosmic offering, a service, and then it's cut out, and as it's taken away, it's transmuted all that karma. But each pyramid is at the end of Atlantis, for example. And whenever I'm in a car and I'm sitting in a traffic jam, I'm thinking, why aren't we just rising up and going above it? And that's a memory from the past. And of course, that will come in. And
this generation, are there any ways we can heighten our frequency and transform our bodies to meet the level that maybe even our children are going to be at?
That's the whole point of writing these books. We can be part of that. It's like a golden stream of light workers now, helping the whole planet to rise. Every single thing that you do changes your frequency or determines your frequency. The words that you say, the thoughts that you think, the food you eat, the water you drink, everything has an effect on your frequency. And if you decide to live as a 6th dimensional being or even a 5th dimensional being right now, you are going to be already working to create your higher light bodies. And to move into 6th dimensional ascension, which has only been possible in the last 2 years, but already
Wow.
I think millions of people are already starting to do so. You connect to the stars, and as I say, once Pluto came in, you connect to the stars and download the light codes from the stars. Having downloaded those light codes, I've got a free hour. Oh, it's the freebie that I've given you. It's a free 1 hour. Activate, bring forward your light codes for your crystalline heart, light body, and brain. And you connect to the different stars and planets, and you bring in and then activate those codes. Now, that's possible for anybody with the intention and the desire to do so. And there are millions now. And if you think of all the people that can start to do that, then the planet can move forward very quickly. Remember this, that people who have chosen to come in now have chosen for one of 2 reasons. One is to balance off their karma. The board of karma has now been dismantled. That's done. Or to help bring in the golden future. And so there's this 20-year period. The 260,000 cosmic era of Atlantis ended in 2012. We are in this 20-year incredible time of spiritual opportunity. Incredible. Never been anything like it on Earth before, but ends in 2032. Now, to trigger this is not just for Earth. This is not just for this planet. It's not just for this universe. It's throughout all the universes. But on the cosmic moment at 11:11 on the 21st of December 2012, source energy touched the heart of every single being, everywhere. And that was to trigger the shift. And so we were given 20 years to move into a higher dimension. All the planets, all the angels, everybody had to move forward, every person. But Earth was behind. So we've to do a double dimensional shift. There is a reason Earth fell behind. And the main reason is that when they sent out a clarion call around the universe for a planet or star that would undertake the experiment of free will, there was only one place that volunteered, and that was Earth. So beings that come to Earth are considered to be incredible spiritual warriors. So wherever you are in the universe, if you've been to Earth, people say, "What? You've had the courage to go to Earth."
Yeah, yeah.
Connect yourself to the experiment of free will. And what's happened is that we fell so far back, nobody expected that people to take free will and use it against themselves and each other. But that's what happened. And so what's now happening is that all the stars and planets are trying to help us. And so that's why this is such an incredibly important opportunity for spiritual growth. What is happening now on Earth? You chose to be here now, and you managed to get a ticket to be here. You know, it's not easy.
Hey y'all, did your vibration get a serious boost from this week's podcast? I know mine did. And I'm willing to bet there's a whole community that also feels the same way. Wait, actually, there is a whole community. That's right. On Facebook, we now have the Transformation to Expansion community where we actually have weekly discussions about the podcast episodes, and we even try out the freebies all together as a community to help us stay accountable. So definitely go ahead and check that out. The link is in the description below, and I'll see y'all there. Peace. That people don't know that. That's one thing I really wish more people knew. It's difficult to get here. You have to, like, you need, like, I always have this theory. I say that, like, everybody on earth is royalty, cosmic royalty, because like the process to get here, like you gotta have grit, because it's actually easier to do good in other parts. It's so much easier. This is like a challenge because you have that choice. But yeah, I try to emphasize that to people. Like you don't understand. You're very lucky. You're lucky to be here. But at the same time, we go through stuff that is like, really, this is luck. This, I'm getting robbed. This is luck. Like you have to. It's hard. It's a challenge.
Well, it can be. It depends. You create your own universe. You can create a universe of joy, of delight with your thoughts. But if you're constantly focusing on one horrible thing that's happening in this part of the world and something awful that's happening there and what's awful for your neighbor, then you're creating all of that into your universe. If you create your own golden universe, then you will affect people with your universe rather than jumping in to bring other people's universe into your life. Does that make sense?
Oh, I mean, for me, perfectly. I don't know if everybody in the audience will completely understand that. I've had this emphasized to me so many times throughout my life. I'm still working on it, but I'm making progress, right? It's not, at least, I don't want to say it's not, but at least for me, it has been a progressive thing. It's not an instantaneous thing. Maybe in the future it can be for a lot of people,
Yeah.
but for me, it's a lot of it's just you're rewiring your brain. So and there are some ways or moments, or maybe some people had a previous contract that said, hey, when this happens, it's going to be instantaneous. But just for me, it seems to be more of a slower process. So I'm still working on my mindset. But yeah, monks say this all the time: beautiful mind, beautiful world. And I've seen people who have that mindset, and literally they bring miracles where people are telling them, nah, that's not going to happen. It's impossible. And then it happens automatically. And I'm like, how do I get there? What, why? you know? So have you ever felt like you're meant for more? You're here for a reason. Something inside of you knows that there's more. There's more purpose. There's more connection. There's more fulfillment. There's more love to be enjoyed in this life. What if all of that was here right now? Your life easier to navigate, your dreams easier to manifest. You can live in a life of ease, even in these uncertain times with Pluto being in Aquarius. Your community of expansion is right here at your fingertips. From the moment you enter, you feel the sense of release and comfort. No more wondering if all those downloads you got as a kid were just random thoughts. No more wondering that time you had telepathy, thinking that it was just a fluke. Be with the people you know are here for you. Join our ever-expanding community on Patreon for free. And for those of you who ask, yes, the Wellness Library is included.
I love you all so much. Let's get back to the show. Peace.
That's the process, isn't it? Is watching your
Right.
thoughts, watching everything, and changing everything. And and we still also have to remember that you can try really and really to make your thoughts and your life beautiful, and then your soul says, "I need you to have this experience," and something comes in for you to experience. And so we can't blame ourselves. Absolutely nobody knows what's going on for somebody else.
Hmm. Right, exactly. Yeah, we're all in our different journeys. We all have a different mission, and we all have different ways of experiencing and going through that process, right? We're all going to make it on the other end, but there's just so there's infinite.
And we all have different missions.
Right, 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 right.
So your
Exactly.
mission might be to communicate certain things to somebody. Somebody else's mission might be to bring in Christ energy through color and do beautiful paintings. You know that we just don't know. Another person's mission might be to show that they can create their perfect physical body.
Yeah, well, right. I mean, and really, in turn, showing people how we can transform our bodies on our own, without plastic
Mhm,
surgery, without
mhm.
chemicals or anything, literally on our own. Like, I'm a really big believer that that alchemical process of transforming your body, I think it's going to become more easier and easier as time progresses.
As we start to purify the water and the food, will be easier automatically. You know, at the moment, we are trying to create these bodies in a very polluted scenario on every.
Yeah.
So, and everyone is responsible for that to start changing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I'm like, should we go into food? We're not going to get into food. That's a whole, yeah, yeah, yeah. I want to really focus on you because that's a whole thing. I mean, yeah, like you said, the water is polluted, the food is polluted. I remember I taught last year, and one of my kids told me, "Hey, so how can we?" Oh, yeah, because we read a book on this woman who lived to be 127 years old, and they're like, "What? That's impossible." I was like, "No, no, no." And I looked online. I was like, "Look, there's a guy who lived to 140. Like, this is normal. Like." It's just not promoted. It's not advertised. I told them I went to Thailand. I met a guy. They told me he was 130 years old. And at first I was like, no, they mean 103. But no, my friend was like, no, 130. Because he was still moving. He was still walking around. He was still very healthy.
Okay, well, as you want to talk about that, this is going to be much more of the norm in the future. I talked about bringing in the light codes from the different planets. So, from
Hmm.
Helios, which is the sun beyond the sun, we can now start to access the light codes of regeneration. Now, they work to help regenerate your bones and nails, fingernails, hair, all of that sort of thing. We
Hmm.
can start calling in light codes of rejuvenation from Andromeda. So, when your higher heart is open, then you can start accessing light codes of rejuvenation to make your whole body younger. And you can
Hmm.
also start to activate them from Arcturus, helping your crystalline brain to develop, but also sending those golden codes through your body into the cells of your body. It's a choice, the energy we we bring in to our bodies on a spiritual level as well as on the physical levels.
No, I really do believe it starts with like how much love we put into our bodies, right? How really paying attention to what we're eating, and it's okay. I shouldn't say this, but I feel like it is. We're on Earth for a reason. Food is a really cool thing on Earth. Like I feel like I don't know. This is more maybe from my soul, but I'm like I don't think anybody else has pizza like we have pizza on Earth. Like. Like there's certain things I'm gonna splurge on. I'm gonna be like, I'm on Earth. I'm gonna try the pizza. I'm gonna try the food. Okay, I'm gonna eat the meat. Maybe. Mm.
Food is more than nourishment, it's community
That's
togetherness,
so,
it's all
yeah.
sorts of things.
Hmm.
It's celebration. It's as well as obviously it's the
But it's
fuel
pizza.
for
It's
our
so good.
bodies.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's I think everything's fine in moderation, right? I'm not eating pizza every single day for every single meal. That'd be crazy. But once I'm gonna splurge a little bit. Um, but right, so back to right. So when I was introducing this concept of living a long life, one of my students, they asked me, so how do we do this? Is it by eating organic from the grocery store? And I told them, actually, the best way to do this is to grow your own food in your backyard. That's going to be the best way, because even in the states, this is back in the states, but even in the states, even the organic food is, because it's right next to the farm that uses chemicals, it still has chemicals in it. It's really, ugh, don't even get me started. Anyway, but one of the things you also talk about in your book is how agriculture is going to change, right? And you talk about the collapse of the international trade, and I really want to talk about this because, right, so in your book you mentioned that uh, long distance transportation of goods is going to collapse. Can you talk more about that? Because this is something I haven't heard a lot of people talk about. And yes, when you think about it, it kind of makes sense with everything that's going to happen. We kind of saw a little bit of this during COVID, right? Because that was one of the first things that collapsed, was the international trade,
Mhm.
which was actually
Mhm.
really good for the
Mhm.
earth. But
Mhm.
let's talk about that real quick. So what do you really see, that the whole collapse of that system? How do you see that happening? And then what is going to be kind of the benefits of that process for people?
We all know that food grown locally is homeopathically right for your body. And so your body is going to be responding much more to locally grown food. Um, but it's much more than that. In the golden future, everybody will have enough food locally. It will be grown by people who love growing food, but in a vast, not yet conceived of super hydroponic way, so that there will be plenty. You won't have food delivered in lorries. You won't have people driving around in cars. You will be able to send out for food to arrive by a kind of super drone to.
Hey y'all, did your vibration get a serious boost from this week's podcast? I know mine did. And I'm willing to bet there's a whole community that also feels the same way. Wait, actually, there is a whole community. That's right. On Facebook, we now have the Transformation to Expansion community, where we actually have weekly discussions about the podcast episodes, and we even try out the freebies all together as a community to help us stay accountable. So definitely go ahead and check that out. The link is in the description below, and I'll see y'all there. Peace.
And you will produce it. It's such a different concept. If you can imagine, you are not share. It's about sharing and caring. So you're not have
Yeah.
an individual car. The concept of ownership is a concept of fear. It's a concept of believing you can't have what you want. I know it took me a while to get my head around that one too, but of course it is. If you absolutely know that the universe is going to provide what you need and want, why do you need to
Hmm.
own anything?
Yeah.
Because you're saying you're owning it, is clutching it and saying, "Oh, I've got this, it's mine, no one else can take it." Actually, that's not what the new consciousness is about. So, in the new consciousness, you want to visit somebody, you send out the thought you want to visit them, you go to your front door, and a transport arrives to take you. And so it's an ecological transport. It's not something that is going to cost the earth or anything else, because we will by
Hmm.
then have new methods of powering, of finding energy that we don't even think of now. We're using the tides and we're using the sun, but we've only touched the surface of it. We're going to go into much deeper levels of using pyramid power and deeper power within the earth, more wind power, the power of thunder and lightning, a whole host, as well as plant power that we are not even touching on or hardly touching on at this moment. When
Hmm.
they all come forward and you've got vehicles built of extruded plant material that are not costing the earth anything, and those transports are available to everybody on a completely shared basis, then you're not looking to own, you're not looking to send a juggernaut out to deliver things, because you just draw to yourself what you need.
Mm-hmm.
The concept is beyond anything that we can currently visualize using our powers for. But this is what is going to be happening at the next step. Remember, money is already disappearing in a form that we know it. And what is new is going to come in is people caring and sharing and looking after each other instead.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to build a house, you build it with materials and any color extruded from plants to do things that we currently can't do. And so the houses will then be created locally by the people, not by one person who's just going to build houses, unless that's what their soul wants them to do.
Mm-hmm.
We will have time. You know, Spirit has always tried to give us more time to spend with our families and friends. And we have studiously avoided it. But computers were brought forward specifically with the concept of it saving us time so that we would have more time with our families, instead of which we have more time hunched over our computers. And I
Yeah.
have to say that I'm as guilty of that as anybody else. But that was the concept. And so already AI is coming in parts of China, apparently. Factories have laid off 90% of their workers. Now, that's giving them time. But what we haven't got yet is the new consciousness in place that can use that time for the soul satisfaction and creativity and joy of the people. Now, that
Yep.
consciousness that's got 7 years to come into play before the new golden age officially starts. And of course, it's not going to, one day is the old age, one day is the new age. There's going to be a period of adjustment. But by 2050, the world will have changed beyond any recognition. It'll be totally different. Everything will be created, built, and lived differently. It's the consciousness that shifts. At the moment, you go into a park and there are a group of people playing football, you feel separate and you don't feel that you can go and join them. In the new consciousness, not only do you feel happy to join them, but they welcome you in, because there's no separation. There's a group of people and they're all painting together. It's going to be much more of a group energy that's coming in. People are painting together, people are singing together under the trees, people are yachting together. Now, we've got a time of total honesty. So if the community build a hall, they leave in the hall the tennis rackets, anything. It's just left there for anybody to use, because there's total honesty. People will maintain it, people will look after it, people will leave it there. It's not going to be like it is now. It's going to be back to leaving your front door open and feeling totally safe, feeling you belong. And I think this oneness and the belonging are two of the huge shifts that are taking place and will be there. The way we treat children is going to be different too, because as I've said before, we're going to find ways for developing children that plays to their strengths, enables them to feel confident and joyous and ready to explore and feel they belong on earth. The
Mm-hmm.
children coming in are very different neural pathways. They are not like the old children. They are not going to stand for what we've done to them. And as I've said earlier, they're already starting to change.
And you kind of hit it on the nail too. People are gonna have more time. That's one
Yes.
thing that I truly do believe about AI. People, I mean, there's so many theories out there, but one of the biggest things, because we kind of saw this too during COVID, is that it's gonna really force people, because they're gonna get laid off, It's going to force people to heal and to trust the universe more. And yeah, it's like one of those things that I know a lot of people are like, nobody wants to be unemployed, nobody doesn't want to have money, but it's really, again, it's going to force us to build local gardens. It's going to, because that's free, right? It's going to force us to really move into kind of this golden future that you're talking about. And it's gonna be beautiful, it's gonna be ugly, but still I think it's really for our benefit. At the end of the day, one of the technology that you also kind of touch on in your book is the transportation technology, which was when I was reading this in your book, a lot of the technologies that you mention have actually kind of been presented to me in one of the books that I read as a kid. It was called the Uglies series, like maybe 100 years in the future. It's not really too far. But one of the transportation things that they use is called like a hoverboard, but it's using metal to connect, and you have to. So they would go along old rail lines because they knew that there was metal there to like kind of travel around. Can you talk a little bit about some of the future ways that we are going to transport ourselves? Because I really love kind of the concepts that you present to us in your book. It's really cool.
Well, those hoverboards they had in Atlantis, and children especially would go on those. So they're hovering above the ground. They're totally safe to go anywhere, and they take themselves to school or wherever they need to go. And many of them went along the ley lines because they were magnetized. Now we're going to have much higher frequency ley lines. Right now we're activating the ninth dimensional ley lines within the planet. And so that means that you can have much more traveling along it. I think we'll be using that concept so much more. And whenever I'm in a car and I'm sitting in a traffic jam, I'm thinking, why aren't we just rising up and going above it? And that's memory from the past. And of course, that will come in. And we will be traveling at speeds faster than we've got any concept of now. It's almost a thought. I could be in Australia in a thought, a second. And it'll be like that with the transport. There'll be so much more of people being able to transport themselves, teleport themselves. There will be huge hubs just like now, but where people can take a transport to a hub and then they go together in rockets that take them beyond any kind of speed we can imagine to Australia, to India, to wherever in an instant. The borders are not going to be there. There's not going to be, oh, I need a visa to go here, because the world is for everybody. We're all one. None of this silly business of, oh, you can't cross over to there because those people are different, because everyone is welcoming and different, but the same. Everything is, they're only different because they've chosen a different experience, but that doesn't mean to say they don't welcome you into it. And so, yeah, the whole concept is different. You're not going to be traveling from New Zealand to England with apples. You're not going to be traveling from America with trucks of beef. All of that is past. You're going to be satisfied with what grows locally. It's delivered to you by drone, something simple. Eating will be simple. Don't forget, it is not part of the contract on Earth to eat animals. We won't be eating the animals. The contract with animals was that they would come to Earth much more right brain than we are. We are left brain, but we will look after them. And they will respect us and help us. They will offer us their feathers and their eggs and help us in ways like that. But it's not that we eat them or they eat us.
So, have you ever felt like you're meant for more? You're here for a reason. Something inside of you knows that there's more. There's more purpose, there's more connection, there's more fulfillment, there's more love to be enjoyed in this life. What if all of that was here right now? Your life easier to navigate, your dreams easier to manifest. You can live in a life of ease, even in these uncertain times with Pluto being in Aquarius. Your community of expansion is right here at your fingertips. From the moment you enter, you feel the sense of release and comfort. No more wondering if all those downloads you got as a kid were just random thoughts. No more wondering that time you had telepathy, thinking that it was just a fluke. Be with the people you know are here for you. Join our ever-expanding community on Patreon for free. And for those of you who ask, yes, the Wellness Library is included. I love y'all so much. Let's get back to the show. Peace.
Yeah, I mean, even Native peoples in America, they talk about this. That's how they view it too. It was never like, even if they go for a hunt, the way they even talk about that process isn't, oh, we're gonna go attack this animal. They always say the animal offered itself to us. They never talk. Yeah, so so you hit it right on the
It's
nail. Yeah.
respect. Hmm. We have to respect the animals, and then they will automatically not be frightened of us, but will respect us. I mean, even
Mhm.
rats, I feel very strongly about this. Rats came in with a sacred mission, and that was to help clear up our rubbish. And what we did was we
Mm.
created more and more rubbish, and they had to send for more and more rats to help deal with it. And then we started hating them and punishing them and eventually poisoning them. And they became so stressed that they became diseased. Then we hated them even more. And what they're trying to do is clear up our rubbish. And that's them to help us. And if we take responsibility for everything and our actions, we would look after our own rubbish. And then the rats could live happily just clearing up the surface rubbish.
I love that concept too about rats, and that's another thing too. I think people we're so disconnected from the truth of this reality that everything has a purpose. Everything it exists for a reason. It's so funny because I think a lot of people say they trust God, they trust the universe, but I'm like, I don't think you really do, right? Because it's like if you did trust, like I don't know, it's one of those things where it's like you say one thing but you do something different, right? I think that's what it is. People aren't, they don't walk necessarily in their truth. If you really trust God, then you trust, okay, that rat is over there for a reason. Now I do have to say, if it's in my space, I need it to get out. Like I'm not gonna lie. But if it's on the street, it ain't bothering me. Don't bother me. No, I won't bother you. We good. But it's a really important concept that I think more people need to truly integrate. Is trusting the universe, trusting God.
I'll tell you a story about that trust then. It's one of my favorite stories. Can you just see up here an orb? No,
Yeah,
I don't know if you,
it's pink.
here we are. Here we are. Can you see it now?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's
Thank you.
an orb, an angel orb, and that's Archangel Chamuel, the angel of love, with a bit
Mm.
of Mary energy around the outside and an angel of love in the middle. But the pink is well, the angel of love. And so, what I sometimes do is I breathe the energy in, surround myself in it. And I've had loads of experiences, but the last time I was standing on this bridge looking over a stream, breathing all this energy around me. My two dogs were sitting on one side of me. And when I opened my eyes, my two dogs were here, a fox was sitting here, and a bird was on the railing right in front of me. When I opened my eyes and came out of that energy of love, the dogs chased the fox, the bird flew away. We were back into the current paradigm. But while I
Wow.
was in that love energy, everybody felt safe and trusting. That was just awesome. And so, yeah, that's where we'll be going in the golden future.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's such a beautiful. It's given like Disney vibes. um, I really love that. A lot of people are kind of tapping more into ancient technologies, ancient wisdom, and ancient sites that I think most of us, not most of us, but I would say, 20% of us kind of knew about. But I think more and more people are being exposed to that. Within this past year, we heard about, how there's structures underneath the pyramids. And I just remembered around the same time when I was reading your book, you mentioned how pyramids are actually computers. And there's been a lot of research and photos that even show you, parts of a computer and compare it to the Giza pyramids, and it's almost identical.
Really, really.
Oh yeah. Oh girl, I'll send you. If I find it,
Mm.
I'm gonna email them to you. I'll show you. I like literally. There's so many videos that talk about this, but yeah, I'll send you screenshots of the photos. In your book, that was kind of the first time somebody had just outright said, "Yeah, these are computers." Can you kind of talk about, what is the purpose of these pyramids, and especially the purpose of them? We know we have them all over the world. What is the reason why we have so many pyramids? And it's crazy because even now people are, I mean, I guess more pyramid locations are being popularized. There's some in Bosnia, there's one in Japan, apparently underwater. um, what's so important about these pyramids? What is their purpose?
Well, they're a sacred shape, geometric shape that brings the energy from above,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, spreads it out to below, and then if it's a tetrahedron, takes it down. But each pyramid is, at the end of Atlantis, for example, the shape chosen for a pyramid was the Pyramid of Giza.
Mm-hmm.
And that is one of the most sacred pyramids. There were 6 cosmic pyramids at the
Mm-hmm.
time. They were computers containing all the information to help the world wake up to what's happening now for the golden future.
Mm-hmm.
So even if they've been destroyed, like the one physically destroyed in Tibet, one was built there and that went in an earthquake, but energetically it's still there. And so it's holding those energies to wake things up. I mean, they've got timers in them, so they wake things up at a certain time. They hold energies. They will do anything that a computer will do, but a very advanced computer,
Mm-hmm.
because they are plugged into, or the cosmic pyramids are, they're plugged into source energy. And of course, they're not just on Earth, they're on other places. They are huge connecting points.
So what information are they bringing from, so yeah, what information are the pyramids bringing from the cosmos down to earth?
Well, say a pyramid might be connected to a planet and it would be holding the light codes, the frequencies, the energies of that planet. For example, say the Pleiades, I'm just taking the Pleiades, that's a healing plane. So source energy comes down, love source energy comes down through the Pleiades, and that brings the Christ light down at an 11th dimensional frequency. And that's held then in a pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
It's held in many other places as well, but it's just one of those holding places. So that's got the healing energy in it to enable our health blueprints to come up to a higher frequency, whatever. So I don't know a lot about pyramids. I only know really what I was given for the book.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
But I know that they are incredibly powerful, and we haven't even touched on the power that they have, the energy that they can generate, the way that they can light up and send energies between places. And maybe we'll even be traveling on lines that connect the pyramids. All sorts of things are possible because in those ancient days when they were built, they knew so much more about those things than we do now.
Yeah, I mean, I completely
It's
believe it. That's one of the things that I kind of, one of the truths that I knew every time somebody talks about the pyramids or they're theorizing what is it for, how are they built. I'm like, we don't know the technology. We're not advanced enough to even understand what's going on with
hmm
these technologies. And it's so cool because these technologies are so natural, like it's so
mm
cool that it's essentially a computer, but it's built out of crystallized stone, you know? And
hmm
I feel like more people should, yeah, start to like realize that there's a lot more research that needs to be done on these pyramids.
Oh, we have to wait, we're ready, and then they will download the energy to us and the information.
Hmm.
which is actually how it works. And as soon as people are ready, the information arrives. The research find it, and they can't find it until the consciousness is ready to accept it.
Right. It's more about preparing ourselves than really anything else.
Raising our frequency. I'll give you an example. I'm going to India next week. And one of the reasons I'm going is that years ago, the Venusians came to Earth to explore and see what we needed. And they planted pink, 11th dimensional pink love energy in the Earth under India, because at that time, that was the best place for it. And with the help of the unicorns, they put that energy there because they knew we would need it right now during
Hmm.
this year period. And now, at last, the frequency is right on Earth, and we can connect with the unicorns to create the right frequency to enable us to access it and bring it up. Now, it was originally left in Nepal, but when the Buddha energy came in at 4,000 BC, 4,000 years ago, that energy transferred along the ley lines into India and spread under India. It's time now to bring that energy up so that it can start bringing that love energy into India. One of the reasons it's so important now is, as you probably know, many much of the technology of the future and the AI of the future is coming through India, through the Indians. Yeah, they are being calibrated with that information. And so, because it's so important, the frequency needs to be as high as possible. And so it needs to be people that can use it for the highest good actually bring it forward. And so everything works together for the optimum for Earth.
Yeah, and I know that a lot of spiritual masters have always gone to that north, like kind of bordering the Himalayas or Nepal, right? That area between and the north of India and then Nepal. What do you know why it's such a spiritual epicenter of Earth?
I was born there. That might be one reason.
Wow. Oh
Yeah.
my God, that's incredible.
I'm going back to be in the Himalayas on my 85th birthday.
Oh my
Yeah.
God,
Yeah, I know.
congratulations.
And yeah, so it's the highest frequency place on the planet in the Himalayas at the moment, and has been for a long time. But all mountainous areas tend to hold very high frequencies. Now, you get places like Mount Shasta where it's incredibly high frequency. Also the Andes where Machu Picchu is, all around there, all high frequency.
Do you know why that is? Is it because of the proximity to the stars or?
I would think that it's more that the energy there has been covered in snow for a long time, and snow is very purifying. And so that holds the energy pure in those places. And I'm sure there are other reasons as well that create an area to be pure. And obviously, less inhabited, fewer people can get there.
A lot of people right now they're going through this process of healing and yeah, just healing. Right now, a lot of people through that healing process they do experience suffering. One concept that is pretty new to me that's been presented to me in the past couple of years is this concept of healing via love, healing without suffering. I mean, have you heard about this concept before? Let me like start with that actually.
No, I haven't. I think there's a whole lot of reasons why people have brought a lot of stuff into their life now. One is that in the past, if you didn't want to complete your karma, you died before you'd completed it. You just passed it on to the next generation. Now they had the choice. Oh, do we really want to take on his karma? No, we'll just pass it on. And it could go down 7 generations. But
Right.
now it's end times. It's the end of a civilization. It's the end of a cosmic era. Everything had to be cleared up. So all the people on earth were taking on part of the collective karma, part of the individual karma, the genetic karma, the family karma. huge amount of stuff that people were passing through their physical bodies. Of course, you can take that on and clear it with pure love, but sometimes you can take it on and clear it. This is one reason so much cancer. You take it into your body as a cosmic offering, a service, and then it's cut out. And as it's taken away, it's transmuted all that karma, maybe a whole slice of karma for humanity.
Yeah.
And so, yes, there's been so much going on. This, of course, is why the pharmaceuticals became so powerful, because it needed more than just the herbal healing and hands-on healing that had always been enough before. And so there will soon be the battle as the ancient methods. Every single plant is there with a purpose of healing a part of our body. Every single organ has a plant that corresponds with it, that brings in exactly the right sacred geometry to heal that part of your body. But it hasn't been enough because it's been an overwhelm in the last years as this end times has been coming to fruition. But that will be ending in 7 years. And so it'll be very interesting to see what happens.
Right. Okay, so, a lot of the Earth's vibration is rising. And you can say, sorry, I'm like thinking, like, how do I say this question? You can say no to this, but I mean, I feel like not everybody's going to be at that high vibration in 7 years. Maybe miraculously it can happen. If there are people that are still at a low vibration, what's going to happen to them if they're going to be, 7 years from now?
If they are third dimensional and they don't want to experience a new world that's at a much higher frequency, then they will move to somewhere else. I mean, if they just are not happy in that frequency, in that higher frequency, they won't want to be here anymore.
Which seems kind of impossible in my opinion. But okay, cool. Because I mean, yeah, the next 7 years is like, it's really intense. A lot of stuff is going to happen. But I really want to, empower people to, keep going, keep moving through it, and keep on healing however they can.
Mm-hmm.
One of the questions that I ask all of my guests is, I mean, we basically spent this whole episode talking about the future. But one of the questions I always ask my guests is, how do you see human beings growing from here? And maybe let's like skip over, maybe in the next, like in 20 years from now, how do you see human beings functioning and really living and expanding from the point that we're at right now?
Well, human beings will be moving into a much higher frequency. So their bodies will become crystalline bodies, as I said. Their hearts will become crystalline hearts. They'll be living, therefore, in the oneness and treating everybody else with respect and love in a totally different way. They'll have crystalline brains, so will no longer need the right-left brain business that's going on. This means that everything will be balanced. You'll have not governments as we have now, because there will be smaller units which are working for the highest good of all, instead of a governing space. All the pyramid structures will have dissolved. I don't mean the physical pyramids, I mean the pyramid structures, the governing pyramid structures. That's old age. That's not part of the new paradigm at all. This will be about everybody being equal with equal power to create what's for the highest good of their local areas. And so humanity will be just very different, more confident, happier, working on their soul missions, working with creativity, with happiness, with soul satisfaction. It'll be eventually a seventh dimensional paradigm. That's living in the seventh heaven. We can create it now.
Thank you so much, Diana, for coming onto the show and giving us so much hope for the future. Especially as we, like I said, continue to progress. I think we need that little light at the end of the tunnel, right? right? As Diana had mentioned for y'all, there is, and I didn't even know it was 1 hour. She has a 1 hour meditation for you to really tap into the sixth dimension. If y'all don't have a whole hour, she has monadic merge YouTube videos that I have actually done consecutively for the past month. And I can tell you myself that there's a different energy to it. I mean, maybe it's the angels. Maybe you have this way of really bringing in the angels that I think other people might not have tapped into yet, especially because you've been doing this for so long. But there's a different energy with those. So I really encourage y'all to do those. And I just love them because some of them are 12 minutes, some of them are 30 minutes. And so it's nice. It's like when I have time, I can do the longer ones. But when I'm pressed for time, okay, I'm going to do my little 12-minute one. And that's going to be enough for today. So thank you so much for coming onto the show, Diana, and for sharing your light with us and your love. Is there anything you would like to say before we head out?
Yeah, the golden future is coming. Let's just make it happen fast. Stay positive.
I love that. Yes, the golden future is here and it's here for all of us. Well, thank you so much for coming onto the show. And as always, y'all, I love y'all so much. And I will see y'all next week. Peace.